I'm Bishop John Keenan, and I want to talk to you today about the assisted suicide bill and how it's such a serious threat to human life and society in Scotland. I want to tell you what this bill is all about, how we should respond as Christians, and maybe to ask for your help too. Well, when the Assisted Dying for Terminally Ill Adults Scotland bill was introduced, we were all told it was about reducing suffering, intolerable suffering, for a very, very small number of people at the very end of their lives. And I know that many of the MSPs who voted for the bill at stage one believed that they were doing just that, relieving suffering. But the bill doesn't even mention suffering. Instead of being available for just a small number of citizens, it's going to be opened up to a large section of the population. According to the bill, any person over 18 who has an advanced and progressive disease, illness or condition for which they're unable to recover is eligible for assisted suicide. In other ways, the bill's not what people thought it was. Holyrood's Health Committee rejected an amendment that would have excluded those whose motivation stemmed from non-terminal conditions, including Down syndrome or eating disorders, or even loneliness or financial hardship or feelings of being a burden. Following the committee stage, the proposed law will allow doctors to bring up discussions on assisted suicide, even when patients haven't brought it up with them, significantly undermining the trust in the doctor-patient relationship and putting vulnerable patients at risk of coercion. No training is going to be offered to doctors to help them spot domestic abuse or coercive control behind those asking, or to understand the rights and needs of people with disability. Medics are going to have to opt out of this rather than opting in, which will raise concerns about the protection of their freedom of conscience. I think most shockingly, hospices and care homes will not be able to opt out. And that will mean that Catholic care homes may be forced to close. And hospitals will certainly see an exodus of staff who have already stated they're going to leave palliative care if they're forced to comply. Doctors will not have to explain to patients the potential side effects where lethal drugs fail. This has already been found in other jurisdictions where patients have been left in prolonged distress, sometimes for days. Assisted suicide is very different from palliative care, which helps those dying to live their last days with minimum pain or distress. That's why a large majority of those working in palliative care professions are opposed to this bill. Palliative care in Scotland is already widely recognised as underfunded and unavailable to many people with terminal illness. Its reach is patchy, especially in rural areas. Hospices receive only 30% of their funding from government and are now having to reduce the number of beds due to a lack of resources. This means that there's no real choice available for those in need of palliative care or even adequate social care. This bill puts the most vulnerable in our society at risk, especially the elderly, the disabled, the vulnerable, who may easily feel coerced into assisted suicide for one reason or another. We've got an opportunity to protect them from this threat on their lives. So what am I asking you to do? Well, first of all, please keep praying for this bill to be defeated. This is our most powerful weapon. But at this critical time, we also need you to lobby your politicians to vote against this terrible bill. The most effective way is to meet your MSP face-to-face. You can also arrange to talk with them by telephone, or you can email letters like hundreds of others. If this bill passes, assisted suicide undoubtedly will be widened to become another national healthcare option. Suicide will become normal in society and the numbers will rise. In all other countries where assisted suicide has been legalised, the scope has continually been widened and non-assisted suicide rates have also risen. In the Netherlands, even children have been euthanised under assisted suicide laws. I urge you to renew your commitment to opposing assisted suicide. There's no such thing as a useless life. The church will never abandon the poorest and the most vulnerable. Please get involved in whatever way you can to defeat this bill and allow our country to think of how we can love and care for our loved ones at the end of their lives and let them live their lives as best as they can until their natural end. Thank you.